It's time for Come and Talk It with your host, Michael Cargill, brought to you by Texas Law Shield. Over the last decade, Michael has championed and supported the rights of law-abiding Texans to own and use firearms. He is the owner of Central Texas Gun Works, a veteran of the United States Army, and has achieved national exposure in such prestigious media outlets such as Forbes Magazine, Fox Business News, CNN Money, AOL, BBC World News, Huffington Post, and the New York Times. Cargill vigorously defends lawful gun ownership in this country without regard to party politics. And now, here's Michael Cargill.
911, what is your emergency?
I need help. There's some people outside. I think they're trying to break into my garage.
They're breaking into your home right now.
Yeah. Can you send some police?
What kind of police?
What do you mean, what kind of police?
Due to recent policy changes regarding police brutality, we need to ensure that the officers we send out are guaranteed to not be viewed as racist, trigger-happy, discriminatory in the event of a violent confrontation. So,
can you just send someone to help? I don't know what these people want. My family is here and... Oh my God, they just got into the garage. Please send some help.
In order to send help, I need to know what race the perpetrators are, their age, their sexual orientation, what gender they are. Do they have a criminal record? Are they on drugs? If they are armed, and if so, what are they armed with?
I don't care about any of that. Send help now!
Sir, we cannot send white officers out there if the perpetrators breaking into your home are non-Caucasian. I can't send officers out there with guns if the alleged burglars are not armed. So, I need to know. Sir? Sir? 911, what is your emergency?
Good day, Austin, Texas, the live music capital of the world. Let's praise the Lord and pass the ammunition. I'm telling you, if you think police are coming, they're not coming. I suggest you get a gun. I suggest you learn how to be proficient with that firearm. I suggest you learn use of force and deadly force. Learn when you can legally shoot someone, because it is now up to you to save yourself and save your family. They're not coming. So you need to learn how to, secure your home. Get yourself some good cameras. See what's happening outside your home. Know when that intruder's coming in. Get some cameras so you can see inside and outside the home and protect yourself and also protect your family. So the days of calling 911 and expecting the police to show up, those days are gone, especially if you live in Austin, Texas. That's right. The police have been defunded, and they're not responding to little calls like burglary. They're not responding to little calls like theft. They don't care if someone's breaking into your home or breaking into your business. It's up to you. You have to take your own personal safety into your own hands. You're your own security officer now. You got to protect your home and protect your family and your loved ones. That's where we are today, Zach.
That's a really great place we're at right now, huh?
That's where we are. That's where we are. I'm telling you right now. You think they're coming? They're not coming. That's right. And boy, let me tell you, we got some news more stuff out of Austin, Texas. This guy decided he was going to Molotov cocktail the Travis County Democratic Party's office in Austin, Texas. We come back from the break. We're going to show you that video. We're going to show you his face. We're going to tell you everything about him. We got the arrest warrant. We're going to read that so you know everything about what's going on with all that. Because let me tell you, when it comes to politics, you don't like the other side. You don't like what's happening. You got to just rub that stuff off and just let it go. Trust me, they're going to burn each other. They're going to burn themselves. They will burn their own house down. You don't have to help them out. They're going to destroy it themselves. So we come back. We're going to talk about that. I got some videos. I have some stories of some things that have happened around the country, some things that happened around Texas. We're going to talk about some different shootings. We're going to talk about some just crazy and wild stuff that's actually happened this week. This is Michael Cargill, and you are listening to Come and Talk It.
Hi, this is Stephen Williford, the Barefoot Defender. I get my global gun news from Michael Cargill at Come and Talk It.
a U.S. Army veteran with a strong sense of duty and respect for our system of government. After 12 years, I was honorably discharged and decided I would fulfill the American dream of entrepreneurship and open up a gun shop in Austin, Texas. At my shop, I teach people to be law-abiding and how to safely use their firearm. On page 46, we're going to talk about Penal Code Section 46.02. The day that ban went into effect, I went into my local ATF in Austin and turned over my bump stock because I'm a law-abiding citizen. But I wasn't going down without a legal fight. So that's why I reached out to NCLA.
NCLA is representing Michael Cargill because federal agencies do not have the power to rewrite statutes. Bump stocks are not machines.
Welcome back to Come and Talk It. And now here's Michael Cargill.
All right, so check out this video. This is from Austin, Texas. You had a guy, Ryan Faircloth, decided he was going to Molotov cocktail the Travis County Democratic Party. Take a look at this video here. All right, so this guy, creeps up to the Travis County Democratic Party's office there. Oh, like a little creep there. Besides, he's going to throw a Molotov cocktail. He's going to torch the whole place. Now, the one thing about this idiot is, I think he joked about it on social media, or made some statements on social media about it. And it's funny because I think his apartment complex manager saw a video of this guy. It's like, I know that idiot. Someone else called the police and ratted him out. Let me tell you, this is hilarious. And we got his booking photo as well. You got to take a look at that. Take a look at this guy. Let's make this guy famous. Can't do things like that, I may not like these guys. I may not like them either. I may not like the people either. But you can't, destroy property. Can't do that. That's what this guy looks like. So, Ryan Faircloth, let's see. Here's his warrant of arrest we have for you here. It says possession or manufacture of a prohibited weapon, third-degree felony, of which the offense he is accused by the written complaint under oath of arson investigator Lieutenant Stephen Windsor. So what we're saying is, let's see here. Let's get into this. I have good reason to believe and do believe that Ryan Faircloth, white male, date of birth November 14th, not going to give you all that stuff, on or about the 29th day of September 2021, did commit the offense of possession of a manufacture of a prohibited weapon, a third-degree felony. My belief of the foregoing statement is based on the following information. Affiant is Lieutenant Stephen Windsor. This is the guy that found the report, a fire and arson investigator for the Austin Fire Department, who has been assigned case follow-up duties with regard to a fire that occurred at 1311 86th Street, Austin, Travis County. On September 29, 2021, at approximately 2:18 a.m., the Austin Fire Department was notified of a reported fire inside of a building at 1311 East 6th Street. Fire crews responded and found the fire to have been extinguished prior to their arrival by nearby citizens. Fire investigators were requested to determine the origin and cause of the fire. After a thorough scene exam and interviews, investigators determined that the fire to be incendiary. And during the exam, an improvised explosive device was also identified near the point of origin. No injuries or fatalities were reported. Now, video surveillance footage from 1311 East 6th Street, the Travis County Democratic Party office, was voluntarily given to investigators on September 29th, and they reviewed this video and noted that at 2:01 a.m., a maroon, I just couldn't resist. A maroon-colored F-150 truck traveling north on Navasota without headlights and slowly turned westbound onto East 6th Street. I'm going to tell you, this is how they get you. One, he had his cell phone on him. Two, you had surveillance video from the security cameras of the intersections and different businesses. That's how that stuff, man, I'm telling you, that's how they get you. God, man, these guys are so stupid. Gonna commit a crime, at least try. You know what I'm saying? At least try to hide it. The video surveillance footage from the 1311 East 6th Street, Travis County Democratic Party office was voluntarily given. And so at approximately 2:06 a.m., the person identified as Ryan Faircloth by an informant is seen walking in front of the Travis County Democratic office in an American flag face covering and American flag head covering, gray-colored long-sleeve shirt, black shorts, and gray-black Nike running shoes. Faircloth steps back and throws a rock in the direction of the front door to 1311 East 6th Street. He immediately picks the rock back up and throws it the second time, this time breaking the glass in the door. The rock can be seen in the interior camera coming through the door. Now, Faircloth leaves the camera view after throwing the rock through the front door. At approximately 2:11 a.m., Faircloth enters the camera view again from the corner of Navasota and East 6th Street, wearing the same clothing, holding a dark-colored bottle with a light-colored material sticking out of the top, later identified as an improvised explosive device. Now, while reviewing the video's evidence of the offense, the offendant received a tip from an informant who wished to remain anonymous. They were confident that they knew the identity of this suspect. They pointed this guy out in a Facebook page of Ryan Faircloth. On the Facebook page, this person was able to view publicly. He made a post from the page owner on the night of the fire. Now, one post left at 6:08 p.m. on September 28th appeared to match the style of writing to a note that was left at 1311 East 6th Street. The Facebook post and note both were written in segments divided by 3 dots. I better stop doing that because I do that sometimes. Dot, dot, dot. I guess I better stop doing that. The Facebook post ended saying, "I'm riding for the people now," while a handwritten note unseen was signed "The People." The informant was showed this guy's text message and a conversation from Faircloth that started at 3:28 a.m. on September 29th. Now, a picture was sent to via text to the informant from a number that the informant had previously associated with Faircloth. The picture shows a gas can, a blue Healer Cannon K9, and the text read, "Only cause you ask what to do in the opposition. Got the gas tank in the tank, Colonel? Don't mean to brag, but see, when they say I did it, 6th Street location is on the watch now." Since that time, then the informant showed the fan message requesting the informant to delete the text thread and that Faircloth would explain. So now the problem I have with this is that I don't understand, nothing was stolen, nothing was taken. So what? They damaged property. What a big deal. I don't see what all the hoopla is all about, because we had 8 people in 5 vehicles break into a gun store in Austin, Texas, and there was no investigation whatsoever. A gun store. And the police did 0 investigation. After the initial 911 call, there was no investigators showed up at the scene, no crime investigators. No one came to do fingerprints. No one came to collect DNA or any samples of anything, any evidence. No one collected anything. So why should we care about the Austin Democratic Party's office being vandalized? That's the same thing. My business, the gun store, was vandalized as well by 8 people in 5 vehicles, and there is no investigation. So what's the big deal? Zach?
What's the problem?
I don't know. I don't get it. This is no big deal. There's nothing to see here, people. I say, let's keep it moving. Who cares? I don't care. So who cares? So let's keep it moving. Oh my goodness. I just want to throw that in their face to show, hypocrisy here. Then also this whole weekend, Saturday is like my body, my choice. You got people at the Capitol yelling, "My body, my choice." Talking about the bill that has passed the Texas legislature when it comes to abortion. Well, what about the COVID-19 shot? Isn't that my body, my choice?
No, it's not.
It's not?
It's someone else's choice.
That's someone else's choice.
Hey, Michael, it's different.
That changes.
Okay, it's different.
Oh, my bad.
Uh-huh.
Okay, not a problem. You have to forgive me. I'm currently right now I'm blocked from Facebook, so I can't post the video. We're not posting the video from my Facebook page because I'm currently not on Facebook.
Google at the beginning of the weekend and YouTube just blocked all anti-vax channels.
Really?
Yep.
Okay.
And they actually blocked Dr. Mercola's channel, and they blocked Robert F. Kennedy Jr.'s channel.
Wow. Some key
They
people.
deleted them.
They're like, hey, we don't care
because
who
they
you
are not for the jab. So they're gone.
Straight killing me right now. I don't know what to do. It's all the same. You can't say my body, my choice when it comes to that, and then say it's not your choice. The government says you need to do this when it comes to the other side. It's all the same thing to me. It's my body, my choice, both sides. So everyone's wrong when it comes to this. I don't care if you're Democrat, I don't care if you're Republican. I do believe it is, it's your body, your choice. Mm-hmm. So if I want to get the shot or not get the shot is my choice. Getting an abortion, not getting an abortion is my choice.
Your choice?
My choice. That's right. My choice. If I want to keep my baby, I can keep my baby from my cold, dead hands.
Dave Chappelle has a good skit on that, too.
What does he say? My cold, dead
he
hands.
basically says, yeah, you should be able to get an abortion. And also, men should be able to opt out.
That's right. Opt out of child support.
Mm-hmm.
I'm all for it 100%. Absolutely. That's right. Women should be able to choose whether to have that baby or not have that baby. And you're right. Men should be able to opt out of paying child support. He can't go. And don't call me. Don't write me any letters because I'm not changing my mind.
People do write you letters.
They do. They will write me letters and let me know
letters.
They hate what I'm saying. Or, I like the ones that say they love it and they send me clippings from different news stories. I love those. I use those on the show. But then you get those people that will send me a letter and say, you know what, Michael Cargill, I totally disagree with you. And here's why I disagree with you. I don't care what your opinion is. Guess what? What a concept. I care less, Zero given here.
Zero thoughts given.
Zero thoughts given. All right, so when we come back from the break, I want to talk about the Smith & Wesson as they're moving their headquarters to Tennessee. I want to talk about this New York teen who shot and killed his friend, or shot and killed by a friend. I want to talk about the man used homemade ghost gun to shoot 4 in New York. What is the media calling a ghost gun? Is it really a ghost gun? Or is it a firearm where the serial number's been shaved off? Is it really a ghost gun? Is something a homemade gun that you make from, either a 3D printed machine or some other way? We're going to talk about the Illinois state trooper who was found shot dead in a patrol car. I want to talk about the hospital workers' strike over staffing shortages in upstate New York. I want to mention shortly the people that are, man, it's hard to find employees nowadays. A lot of companies are trying to hire new people, and they're having a very hard time doing that because a couple things. One, it's not enough people don't want to work. 2, not everyone wants to get the shot. 3, they're like, hey, I want to work during the day. I don't want to work at night. I don't want to work after a certain time. And 4, we've had, like hundreds of thousands of people die from COVID-19 and some other things over the last year. So we lost a lot of people, over the last year. And so all that comes into play, and people have moved. Like Austin, Texas, we have people that have moved here from other cities and other states that are trust fund babies. They have high-end jobs, and the people that are working the lower jobs, the jobs, your restaurant, your waiters, your people that work at McDonald's and Burger King and Chick-fil-A and stuff like that, those people have moved away from the city. And so now, guess what? We don't have anyone to replace them. So now we're short employees. We come back from the break, we're going to talk about that. This is Michael Cargill, and you are listening to Come and Talk It.
Peace, this is Maj Toure. You're listening to Come and Talk It Radio with Michael Cargill.
Whether it's a typical traffic stop or you're just involved in a use of force incident, encounters with law enforcement can be scary and stressful. In the heat of the moment, you may inadvertently say something you don't mean, or make an inconsistent statement. These are red flags for officers, and if they think you're lying or your story doesn't add up, they might arrest you and let the criminal justice system decide your fate. Police officers are trained to get information from you without making the interaction seem like a formal interrogation. But remember, from the moment an officer arrives on scene, everything you say and everything you do will be scrutinized in court. The prosecuting attorney will attempt to use anything and everything against you. So what do you say? You say, I invoke my right to remain silent, and then let your attorney interact with law enforcement on your behalf. One important note though, do not throw common sense out the window. For example, if the intruder's hiding somewhere in your house when the police arrive, or if you saw the perpetrator pitch his weapon into your backyard, quickly tell the police and then stop talking. You might ask, what about my rights? What if the police never read me my Miranda Rights? Miranda Rights is the common name for a collection of rights contained in the Miranda warnings, given to suspects when they're placed under arrest. The warning comes from a 1966 Supreme Court case, Miranda v. Arizona. In that case, the court held that statements from a custodial interrogation would not be admissible unless proper procedural safeguards were in place to protect the defendant's Fifth Amendment rights. We've all seen these warnings on TV and movies. You have the right to remain silent. You have the right to have an attorney. Anything you say can and will be used against you in a court of law, and so on. So do police have to read you your rights? No. It's important to note that officers are not required to read you these rights unless you're in custody and subjected to interrogation. If the police show up to a crime scene and start asking you general questions and you voluntarily tell them everything that happened, those statements can be used against you regardless of the Miranda warnings because you're not in custody. If you're put in handcuffs but you say something incriminating on your own without being questioned, those statements can and will be used against you because you're not being interrogated. You're just starting to spout off. This is why it's imperative that you know your rights.
Welcome back to Come and Talk It. And now here's Michael Cargill.
All right, so we're back and we're talking about current events, talking about shootings that happened around the state of Texas and also around the country. All right, so, man, let's talk about Smith & Wesson out of Tennessee. So Smith & Wesson, has decided to leave their home state. They're like, we're out of here. We're gone. And they're actually moving to Tennessee. So Smith & Wesson, man, I love that company. I love Smith & Wesson. I actually have a Smith & Wesson M&P that I like to carry. I have an AR. I have a handgun that I like, with Smith & Wesson.
You got that revolver, right?
Yeah, my revolver. That's right. That's right. I like to carry a revolver, because you just never know. I love my revolver.
Yeah, Travis sent me that story and basically said that any of your Smith & Wessons that are stamped made in Massachusetts are going to be collector's items.
Yeah. I don't think we'll think of it like that. We can't wait for Tennessee. So they're trying to prevent Smith & Wesson from moving. So they're trying to keep them from manufacturing products, I guess, is what they're trying to do.
They're making laws just to specifically keep them from manufacturing in Massachusetts?
These bills would prevent Smith & Wesson from manufacturing firearms that are legal in almost every state in America and that are safely used by tens of millions of law-abiding citizens every day exercising their constitutional Second Amendment rights. And Smith & Wesson has been located in Springfield, Massachusetts since being incorporated in 1852. That facility will remain operational, but others in Connecticut and Missouri will close as part of the consolidation. Now, upward of 750 jobs will move from those facilities to the new headquarters in Maryville, Tennessee. Employees who cannot make the move will be offered enhanced severance and job placement services. Now, this has been an extremely difficult and emotional decision for Smith & Wesson, but after an exhaustive and thorough analysis for the continued health and strength of their iconic company, they feel that they've been left with no other alternative other than to go ahead and leave. So yeah, they're moving. The legislation that they're proposing in Massachusetts would, if enacted, would prevent Smith & Wesson from manufacturing products that accounted for more than 60% of its revenue last year. So they're trying to shut them down. So they have no choice but to move.
And they had to spend $125 million to relocate.
Yeah, and I think that's going to help. That's going to hurt Massachusetts as well.
So their bill is Bill House 4038, which is an act banning semi-automatic firearms. Ooh,
what do you think about it?
That's ridiculous.
Yeah,
banning semi-automatic firearms.
That's everything. That's about everything they make.
That's everything except revolvers and bolt-action rifles. And pump shotguns.
That's crazy.
Yeah, so they want to ban any rifle or shotgun containing a semi-automatic mechanism.
Yeah.
They're changing the definition of assault weapon to semi-automatic
Really?
and striking out the definition of large capacity weapon and inserting in place thereof the following definition. Large capacity weapon, any firearm, rifle, or shotgun that is semi-automatic with a fixed large capacity feeding device. Wow, so Massachusetts is just trying to just bury gun rights in one bill here.
Yeah, that's crazy. All right, let's go to Memphis, Tennessee here. Let's check this out. So video shows. Let's see here, Memphis, Tennessee. Surveillance video shows an unlicensed security guard fatally shoot a man at a Memphis gas station after arguing over music. It's important that when you're traveling in different states and you're deciding to settle down in a particular state, you adhere to whatever their laws are in that particular state. For example, in Texas, if you want to be a security officer in Texas, you have to be certified through the Private Security Bureau, through regulatory services of the Department of Public Safety. You have to, if you want to be a security officer who is unarmed but wear a uniform, you have to be a level 2 security officer. If you want to be a security officer who is armed and wearing a uniform, you have to be a level 3 security officer. If you want to wear plain clothes and protect an individual, you have to be a level 4 security officer. You have to be certified through the state of Texas. You have to sit through a course, a class, get a certification. You can get a card from DPS, Department of Public Safety, that says, what your certification is and what you can do. So surveillance video played in court shows an unlicensed security guard who fatally shot a man at a Memphis gas station. And so, what his attorney is going to have to argue is, okay, this guy, if he wasn't there, to stop what had happened, the situation would have been really bad. It would have been worse because guess what? You're unlicensed. You're an unlicensed security officer. You're not supposed to be there in the first place. So you shouldn't have been there to pull your gun out. So hopefully, we'll see how the jury, decides this case. Maybe if there's some little jury nullification there, and maybe this guy will get off. So the surveillance video is showing an unlicensed security guard fatally shoot a man at a Kroger gas station in East Memphis, Tennessee, was played in court. And after reviewing the video at a probable cause hearing on Tuesday, a Shelby County criminal court judge found that there was no evidence that the shooting of Alvin Motley Jr. was justified and allowed the case to move forward to a grand jury. So now the grand jury is going to decide the case. The grand jury indicts this guy. There's going to be a trial. After seeing the video and going through this preliminary, this one guy, Motley's father, said, hey, he was heartbroken. And it's funny because, you got to have people come out of the woodworks and say, my son, he was a good boy, even though he was robbing someone, and committing mayhem. They're going to come out and say, he was a good young man. And he was trying to do the right thing by robbing someone and, with a stolen gun. He was trying to do the right thing. They're going to say all kind of good things about this person, make him seem like a little angel. And all he was a little monster and deserved to be 6 feet under, but they're going to come out of the woodworks and talk and say good things about him, and make you look like the bad person. So you need to make sure you get the certifications that you're supposed to get so you can legally put these people down like the dogs that they really are. Gregory Livingston, a former Mississippi police officer who did not have a license to work as a security guard in Tennessee, previously had been charged with second-degree murder and is being held on a $1.8 million bond. Ugh, that's insane. Man, that's why, and I talk, Zach, I talk to people like I'm blue in the face. And, I get these people on Facebook and social media, and they'll tell people, especially all these little different Facebook groups, you don't need to take a class. In Texas, we have constitutional carry. You can carry your gun. You don't need a license.
You do not know what you are talking about.
That's what they do. They're like, you don't need a license. You don't need to take a class. You can just carry your gun. And you know what? And then what happens?
Well, it's true.
Yeah, it is true. But guess what happens every weekend? Every weekend, I have at least, like 5 to 7 people that have to take a court-ordered class because they're an idiot who did something wrong and didn't know what the law was. And now it's court-ordered. They've been convicted with a crime, and now they have to take a firearm safety course. And we're like, what court orders this? Look here, fool. You fools out there that are on social media. Yeah, you fool, the one that's listening to me right now, that are telling people they don't need a class. You are a fool and you're an idiot. You have these people every single weekend. That's all I do. But you know what? I shouldn't complain. I thank you. Continue doing what you're doing. Keep telling them
Good
that.
for business.
Yes, give them that bad advice. On behalf of my staff, we thank you. You know what? I'm not going to get upset. You know, I care too much. But you know what? I give up. You win, I give. You know what? You win, I give up. You continue on. You tell them all that bad advice. You tell them they don't need a class. They don't have to learn the laws and all that stuff. And you keep telling them all that bad Facebook advice, that bad Twitter advice. Because when they screw up and they're standing before the DA, the district attorney, especially in Travis County, and they're like, well, you know what? Your attorney, he's going to cost about $10,000. And yeah, and by the way, we need that court cost. And oh, by the way, yeah, you need to take a course and go on down there to Michael Cargill. They'll tell you that on 311. Yeah, go on down there to Michael Cargill, and he'll give you a class and give you a certificate, and then we'll get this charged. We'll go and see about getting this expunged or dismissed and dropped from your record. Don't listen to me beforehand. Go ahead and do it. It's every single weekend, and I love asking people. So, what did you do? Tell me, what did you do?
Why do you have to be there?
Why you have to be? Why are you here in class today? Why do you need a certificate for class? Because no one else needs a certificate. Only half of you need a certificate. So we had 2 classes this morning. The first class, no one needed a certificate except for one. The second class, almost everyone needed a certificate for class. The second class, almost everyone in class. I'm like, man, why do you guys need a certificate? Well, I was walking down the street, and I had a gun in my backpack, and all of a sudden, the police surrounded me. They thought I was someone else that they were looking for, and it turned out they had the wrong person. But in the meantime, when they detained me and they handcuffed me and checked my backpack, I had a gun in my backpack, and I didn't have a license for it. And this was before constitutional carry went into effect. And I knew when constitutional carry was going to go into effect, but I carried a gun anyway.
Oops.
Well, so appreciate you. On behalf of my staff, we thank you. If it wasn't for you, we wouldn't be there on Sunday. We only come to Sunday for classes. That's the only reason why we're open on Sunday is for classes, for firearm safety courses, for people who are classes that are court ordered. That's the only reason we open on Sunday. The only reason. If it wasn't for that, we wouldn't be open on Sunday.
That's why I have to get up early on Sunday.
Yes, that's why you're up early on Sunday. For 2 classes for people who have to take a court-ordered class because they've been charged with a crime. Okay, I cannot stress that enough. But you know what? I digress. Don't listen to me. Don't listen to your attorney. You just keep doing what you're doing and listen to those people on Facebook. Get your legal advice from Facebook. All right, so we come back from the break. I want to talk about this New York teen who shot and killed his friend. I want to talk about the man who used a homemade ghost gun to shoot 4 in New York. I want to talk about Illinois State trooper who found shot dead in a patrol car. I want to talk about the hospital workers' strike over staffing shortages in upstate New York. And I also want to talk about a Texas man chased down carjacker who allegedly dragged a woman to her death with a baseball bat. Also, someone was attacked in Austin, Texas, and here's what he said. Here's what I did and how to defuse the attack anywhere. This young lady's going to talk about that. Austin, Texas is becoming more like Los Angeles, and that's not a good thing. We come back from the break, we'll talk about that and more. Also, you know what? George Soros' group, they're pouring $500,000 into a campaign to oppose and reinstating the Austin police units that are defunding the police. We'll talk about that. This is Michael Cargill, and you are listening to Come and Talk It.
Folks, this is Doug Man Jones. And I get my gun news from Michael Cargill at Come and Talk It.
Hello, my name is Edwin Walker. I'm an independent program attorney with Texas Law Shield. I want to talk to you today about an issue that we see on a daily basis. In fact, you yourself will encounter it on a daily basis, and that is the subject of road rage. I am sure that you have all seen road rage. You may have actually been involved in a road rage incident. Now, if you're a responsible gun owner, I'm going to give you a few words of advice on how to react when you find yourself in one of these unfortunate road rage incidents. While on the roadways, we all observe something that makes us upset. Whether it's poor driving, unsafe driving, or just simply somebody being very discourteous. By all means, you should restrain yourself from engaging that person and telling them how bad their actions were, because this can be perceived as an act of road rage. If you're a lawful gun owner, you have a firearm in your vehicle, you do not want to be viewed as the aggressor in a road rage situation. Now, with regard to a situation where an individual has chosen to rage against you, and you are the actual victim of the road rage, if you and the other individuals are still in their automobiles, do not use your firearm to respond to any of the rager's activities. This is because law enforcement views the fact that you're both still safely in your metal boxes as removing any threat of immediacy that you may be harmed. So please, if you have a gun, somebody is raging against you, forget you have a gun. Don't display it, don't brandish it, don't show it, don't point it, and for God's sake, don't fire it. This could result in a lot of trouble for you. Now let's look at a situation where a road rage incident has escalated. It has escalated to the point where one of the participants has actually gotten out of their vehicle. We recommend that you stay in your vehicle at all times. Do not exit your vehicle, because the person who exits their vehicle is going to be looked at as the aggressor. If the other individual has exited their vehicle, and they are not in contact with your vehicle, and they do not have a weapon, then do not feel that you can display your weapon in an act of self-defense. People are allowed to just simply stand there and scream at you, scream whatever they want. Until they make a demonstrative effort to try to harm you, there is no immediate threat that would justify displaying or shooting or brandishing your firearm. Now, in the event that the person shows their own weapon, in particular a firearm, the existence of their weapon would give you reasonable belief that there was an immediate threat of harm.
Welcome back to Come and Talk It. And now here's Michael Cargill.
All right, let's travel over to Georgia. Man, I love Georgia. My parents live in Georgia, and Georgia never lets me down. You know, between Georgia and Florida, boy, let me tell you, when you break into their house, they let you know. They send you right back out where you came from. It could be the bird, it could be the cat, it could be the dog. Someone's going to see you running back outside that home. But criminals, they keep trying. They keep doing it over and over again. So let's go to Georgia. So a home intruder was attacked and killed by a Georgia homeowner's dog, according to investigators. Now, I can't even make this stuff up, even if I tried. So this guy, what's his name? His name is Alex Beam. He's 21 years of age. Or he was 21. He breaks into a homeowner's home, and the dog just mauls this guy to death. This guy is running for his life, trying to get outside the home. He makes it outside, and he dies outside the home. You know, this dog just ate him to, I'm telling you, that's what you need to do. That's why I love pit bulls. I love my girls. I love my girls. Yes, Zach. I lost one of my girls this week. Yes.
Sorry to hear
One of
that.
my girls, one of my dogs died in their sleep. And so at least she went peacefully.
Just such a good girl.
She was a good girl. She was a good girl, too.
Sweetest.
She was. She would wake me up every morning at 7:30 a.m.
Tail wagging, I bet.
Yes. Hey, you, Darky, take me outside. It's time for me to go outside. I need to go to the restroom. You know, she would wake me up every morning. You know, I love my girls. And luckily, she passed away in her sleep, though. And I think that's a nice way to go. You know, we didn't have to go through, her being in pain or anything like that. She was just asleep. and just never woke up. There was no, no pain or anything. The other dogs didn't get up. The other dogs didn't even know at all. We all got up and we all realized at the same time, she had passed away in her sleep. So we had her cremated this week, But I love my girls. I love my pit bulls. I love my female dogs. They take care of you. You take care of them. You feed them, and they will protect you by any means necessary. And that's what you need to do. You need to get yourself a dog. Someone breaks into the house. My dogs know when someone's walking up the driveway. They know when someone's in the front yard. They know when someone's in the backyard. They have a different type of bark, for different things. And you got to recognize that tone. When that's that deep bark, boys, someone's outside. It's time to go to town. Someone's outside in the front yard. They're coming up the driveway. It's 3 o'clock in the morning. Someone's outside trying to break into the car. We get that roof, big, deep bark. So we need to go to town. And that's when, you got to sometimes you got to release the dogs. Dogs can handle it. You know why? Because the police are not coming, Jack.
They're not responding
No
anymore.
popo. That's right. They're not coming. They're like, no. It's not enough of us. We've been defunded. So we're trying to, answer those calls as best we can. So you got to handle things yourself. The purge has begun. I'm telling you right now, boy, you're going to learn today, people. The purge has started. It's a survival of the fittest. So if you don't know, you're going to learn right now. That's right. The purge has begun. So this idiot who was 21, decided he's going to break into someone's home and take their property, take their stuff. And boy, he got learnt. Let me tell you. And he ended up crawling out of the house and dying outside the house, being and found by investigators, by law enforcement. And so goodbye, say hi to Jesus, holla back, peace, and you're out. Next victim. All right, so let's talk about New York City. Let's go to New York. Man, I don't like New York. As far as I can come, you know what, Zach? I go to Philadelphia, city of brotherly love, and I do a hard stop right there. And I tell everybody, come on over to Philadelphia, city of brotherly love. Come visit me over here because I don't go to New York City.
Go no further.
I go no further.
You shall not pass.
Shall not pass. I do a hard stop, hit a wall. Tell you, I stop right there. All right, so, but over in New York City, so video shows the moment the New York City teen was killed by his friend during a shootout. Take a look at this video right here. And I don't think this video has audio at all. All right, so this guy shoots his own buddy. Is that
so
what
they're
happened?
running away from something, right?
Yeah, they're running away from something. The shocking security footage obtained by the Post shows the moment a 16-year-old boy, 16 years old, was accidentally shot in the head and killed by his own friend in a gunfight in Brooklyn on Tuesday afternoon. 16. Okay, first of all, it's New York City. No one can have a gun. Only police. You got to beg. You got to be a politician, an elected official, a very high-level elected official to have a license or be rich. So 16, you're not supposed to have a gun. For starters, you can't even have a gun 16 in Texas, my goodness. Mm-hmm. All right, so he's 16 years old, and they're just, committing mayhem. And so careless, they shoot their own friend. You know what? Look here, people. Come on down here to Texas. Come on down here. I'll teach you how to shoot. I'm so tired of people shooting innocent people. Shooting we had that massive shooting we had down here in Austin, Texas, where you had these teenagers who were 16, 17 years old trying to shoot each other, and instead of shooting each other, they shoot 14 innocent people and didn't even hit each other. So I'm going to tell you, come to me. I want to teach you how to shoot. I want to make sure you're proficient with the firearm. So that way you can shoot and kill each other and don't shoot innocent people. I don't want innocent people shot. I'm willing to do that. I'm willing to go that far.
Mike, did you know as of last weekend,
Uh-oh.
there were about 215 kids under 17 that died of COVID-19 this year?
Really?
Yeah. And did you also know that in Chicago, up to last week, there were over 300 kids killed just by violence?
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
So 200 in the country,
Uh-huh.
COVID, 300 in Chicago.
Chicago.
Wow. But we don't have a problem in Chicago. We got it all under control.
Chicago's a utopia.
It's all under control in Chicago.
Because they have strict gun control.
Strict gun control. We got it all under control. Don't worry about what's happening here. Mayor Lightfoot. What is it? What they say? Oppressed in the sheets? In the streets or something like that. There's a little saying they have there. You know, something. It's something. You know, I can't even think of what the name is. You'll find it for me. It's a good saying. It's a good saying. So the shooter, and we're talking about New York here. The shooter was firing at a rival gunman after he was shot in the stomach amid a volley of bullets along an East New York commercial strip around 1:30 p.m. 3 young men wearing a hooded sweatshirt were running down Pitkin Avenue when one opened fire. But instead of striking his rival, the gunman accidentally struck Mr. Pennington, 16 years old, in the head at the corner of Miller Avenue, according to police. And after Pennington was shot, another young man with a blood-drenched sweatshirt attempts to pull a limp Pennington off the street corner and out of the line of fire. And sad situation there. You know, now he's got to deal with the fact that he shot his buddy. He shot his friend. No one else. He did it.
Because he kept his finger on the trigger while he was running.
Yeah, just tip. I mean, it's the safety rules. Finger off the trigger unless you're on target, ready to fire.
Don't point your gun at anything you're not ready to destroy.
Not anything. Always be cautious of where that muzzle of that gun is pointed. Always be cautious of that. So when we come back from the break, I want to talk about the man who used a homemade ghost gun to shoot 4 in New York. I want to talk about an Illinois state trooper found shot dead in a patrol car. Also want to talk about hospital workers who were striking over staffing shortages in upstate New York. Also, I want to talk about, in Austin, Texas, becoming more like Los Angeles. And the young lady talks about her story and what she had to do to defend herself. You know, because she was a young lady was attacked in Austin, Texas, and we're gonna read what she had to do to defuse an attack. You know, she's gonna tell us, you know, some of her things that she uses because she happens to be downtown Austin. She has to deal with these homeless people. And so, because she works downtown, she's going to tell what she does to defuse the situation. You know, because I guess where she works, maybe she can't carry a gun. And George Soros, he pours $500,000 into a campaign to oppose the reinstating of Austin police units that were defunded. So I guess the proposition, I guess we'll read about what that prop is, because I don't know what the prop actually says. So we'll have to we'll pull some documentation up on that to see what the prop actually says. And then, you know, we'll talk about, you know, what the opposition is saying about it. So we'll talk about that, because that's a really big deal here. You know, with defunding the police, you know, you have groups Save Austin Now is saying, hey, let's refund the police. And let's let the police, you know, answer those calls, the 911 call when you call them. We need more police officers per how many civilians that we have out on the streets. We don't have enough officers on the road. We need the, you know, police academy. We need more police cadets in the academy so we can, you know, solve our staffing issues that we're having in the city of Austin. So it's a really big problem here. Not enough police on the street to handle the problems. And all you have to do is people are upset. Well, you know, what about when a police officer does this? A police officer does that. Well, you know what? What a concept. If a police officer is wrong, they're committing the crime, then how about you do this? How about you prosecute them for the crime they committed? And let's keep it moving. Let's prosecute that officer and then hire someone else, and let's keep it moving, people. That's how you handle that situation. You know, by not prosecuting and not holding them responsible, then, you know, we're adding to the problem. This is Michael Cargill, and you are listening to Come and Talk It.
I'm a U.S. Army veteran with a strong sense of duty and respect for our system of government. After 12 years, I was honorably discharged and decided I would fulfill the American dream of entrepreneurship and open up a gun shop in Austin, Texas. At my shop, I teach people to be law-abiding and how to safely use their firearm. On page 46, going to talk about Penal Code Section 46.02. The day that ban went into effect, I went into my local ATF in Austin and turned over my bump stock because I'm a law-abiding citizen. But I wasn't going down without a legal fight. So that's why I reached out to NCLA.
NCLA is representing Michael Cargill because federal agencies do not have the power to rewrite statutes. Bump stocks are not machine guns. If Congress wants to change the law and ban bump stocks, it certainly can do so. But we can't have the executive branch rewriting a statute and putting people in jail for up to 10 years.
It's a problem because, this government agency has said, you know what, something that is legal is now illegal, and we're going to confiscate it from you, and we're not going to compensate you for it, and you're going to become a criminal.
The goal of our case here is to tell the ATF that they can't get away with this kind of administrative lawmaking. This isn't constitutionally permissible, and this goes against everything that our nation was founded on.
The bump stock ban turned innocent law-abiding citizens into criminals overnight, even though they were compliant with the statute. And that's not right.
This case is not about where you stand on bump stocks. It's about the rule of law. It's about whether an agency can rewrite a statute and turn a law-abiding citizen into a criminal. If the ATF can ban bump stocks, any agency can ban anything.
Welcome back to Come and Talk It. And now here's Michael Cargill.
All right, so we're back and we're talking about current events around the country. And also, we're talking about what's happening in Austin, Texas, because Austin is where it's happening. When you think about the United States of America, it's more like what's happening in Austin because we are the movers and shakers of this country now. If it's happening, if it's new, if it's innovative, if it's something that, this is going to be the way of the future, it takes place in Austin, Texas. So let's talk about how Austin is becoming more like Los Angeles, California, instead of Texas. So driving on a vacation in Los Angeles in the early 2010s was nerve-wracking, and someone drove a borrowed standard transmission car, and stalling was given out and all that good kind of stuff. Now that it mattered, but because there was very little movement anyway, as this person sat on the freeway, they could see the filmy, sooty smog blurring downtown Los Angeles. And when they visited there now they're going to visit like their son, and they're stuck in traffic there and all that smog and all that stuff. They're getting back to it was like pre-COVID levels. And so in 2013, this person decided to move to Austin, Texas. And Austin, Texas, which is the capital of Texas, and home to our, where the legislatures, where everything happens in Austin. We have the Capitol here. You have the state the legislatures come from all around the state and make those laws. And what starts here in Texas actually changes the world. So for most, actually half of my life I've lived here in Austin. You know that?
Yep.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, half of my life, just half.
You love it here.
I do. I do like it. But they're changing the city though. That's the problem. It's changing a little bit.
A lot.
I remember driving through downtown Austin, and I remember looking at the skyline, thinking, like in the '90s and the '80s, that man, this is really a small town to be like the capital of Texas. This is too tiny, and now you just don't think that anymore. That thought doesn't cross your mind. So Austin has begun attracting its share of snowbirds. People from north who brought condos in Austin, Texas, spend winters here where the weather is generally milder. And, after Hurricane Harvey in Houston a couple of years ago, people who lost homes there began moving into Austin. And while Austin is still half the population of Houston, it's now inheriting Houston traffic, and that demand has raised housing prices even more. And all these migrations have raised housing prices in Austin to the point middle-class families can no longer afford to buy here. So and I mentioned this earlier, you're having problems where, your waiters, the people that work at McDonald's, Burger Kings, Wendy's, Starbucks, Subways, the people that work there can't afford to live in the city. What used to be $700 a month or $800 a month for rent, is now $1,200, $1,500 a month. And so it's getting kind of crazy, and it's hard for people to survive. You can't stay in a one-bedroom, not even a one-bedroom. What do you call it? Was it
efficiency?
Yeah, studio. You can't a studio that costs $1,500. Studios. You think of that, you think, oh, $800, $600. But no, it's getting crazy. So Austin, Texas is currently the 11th largest city in the United States at 978,908 population and counting. It's still half the size of Houston and approximately a fourth the size of Los Angeles. However, it grew 45.6% from 2000 to 2020 and is growing faster than 91% of cities of similar size in the United States. Though COVID drastically slowed both traffic and pollution here in Austin this past year, now that people are getting out of their homes again, the traffic on certain days and at certain times is as congested as it was pre-COVID. As a result, downtown Austin is shimmering behind a similar smog blanket as all of the other big cities in the United States. Now, both high-end stores and homeless camps line the sidewalks in Austin these days, just as they do in L.A. and Los Angeles. Tent camps, which have been staples in L.A., but you know what happens, Zach? What happens is when you have COTA, the Circuit of the Americas comes to town, the F1 race, and you have the ACL, the Austin City Limits Music Festival comes to town, you know what they do? They clean out the homeless camps. So downtown, under I-35, over 6th Street there, they cleaned them out. They moved them out, cleaned it up. They covered up the graffiti, and everything, and it's all nice and peachy clean now.
They want to make it look good for the tourists and
Gotta
visitors.
Yeah, they had to make it look good. It's like, oh, we don't have a homeless problem here. Come on down to Austin, Texas. Come to ACL. Come on down to COTA. Check out the F1 race. There's nothing. It's beautiful here. There's nothing to see here.
Nothing to see here.
Nothing to see here.
Move along.
Keep it moving. That's right. And so spend your money. So while the homeless population burgeons, high-end boutiques and chains from California, New York are taking over the iconic medium-price family-owned stores and restaurants on South Congress Avenue in Austin. At a time when more people order merchandise online, Austin's booming with brick-and-mortar stores and erasing the culture of the city. So keeping Austin weird has long been the battle cry of Austinites. Unfortunately, as Austin becomes more homogenized, or weirdness is getting harder and harder to find, and that's a huge cultural loss for Austin, Texas. So, and that brings us to Prop A. So now, George Soros has decided to drop $500,000 on the Prop A campaign. And Proposition A would require the city of Austin to staff a minimum of 2 police officers per 1,000 residents. It would also require an additional 40 hours of post-cadet class training hours per year. And the critics of the proposal have said if Proposition A passes, it will force the city to make substantial cuts in other departments and programs, including family violence, substance abuse, and ambulance services. If Prop 8 passes, all of these services would will be on the chopping block, according to the Austin City Council District 2 member Vanessa Fuentes doing a press conference. And that's not true at all. You know, what we're saying is, let's put that funding back into police. Let's increase police funding, you know, so that way we can have our 911 services. That way when you call police, you know, we want police to show up when there's an issue, there's a problem, to handle those situations. You know, and there's no problems with, you know, if I need ambulance services right now, I can get the paramedics to show up. You know, matter of fact, you get a fire truck and an ambulance. They race each other to the scene, you know, when you have any issues. You call 911, they get there pretty quick when it comes to ambulance and the fire department. An internal cost estimate produced by city staff indicated that approving Proposition A would cost between $271.5 million and $598.9 million over the next 5 years. And, you know, we spent so much money over the last 2 and 3 years over housing, buying hotels for people that are moving from other states that are coming here, you know, to just sleep on the street because they're homeless. They're moving to Texas because in Texas, we'll put you in a hotel. You know, we'll make it nice for you. And so they're like, hey, Austin is where it is. You know, if you're homeless, you know, come to Austin and they're going to take care of you. They're going to feed you 3 meals in a cot. You're not going to have any problems at all. You don't have to sleep in the street. And you're homeless in Austin, you will not go hungry at all. Not one bit. And so, you know, but people that are proposing Prop A said, hey, you know, we need to, if you're going to do this, City of Austin, you're going to allow people to come in from other states, other cities, and other cities are busing, you know, dropping people off at the city limits, which is literally happening, then at least have the, you know, the law enforcement, you know, at least make sure they're staffed and capable of handling, you know, what happens in the city. What do you think about that, Zach?
I don't think that's too much to ask.
Yeah, not at all.
Did you know that over the past 10 years, APD has received over $5 billion in funding?
Really?
Uh-huh. $5 billion.
Is that good or bad?
That's an average of $500 million per year. That's a lot of money.
Yeah. And I think they need to have some assistance, some help in make sure they're spending it wisely. You know, they maybe need to do it
Maybe
right.
a little oversight?
Yeah.
Is that what you're thinking?
There's nothing wrong with a little oversight.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing ever wrong with that at all. To make sure that, hey, you know, and there is a problem with, you know, when it comes to law enforcement here in Austin, when you do call them and they show up, you, like, let's say it's a fender bender, you get like 5 officers will show up to a fender bender.
5.
Yeah, 5. And
So they go from 5 to 0.
That's overkill.
They can't go from 5 to 1, maybe?
Yeah, 1 officer shows up to a fender bender, handle that fender bender, maybe 2, you know, to handle traffic, and that's it. We don't need 4, don't need 5 to show up because someone rear-ended someone else.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and that's what's happening in the past. If they do it wisely, you know, make sure that, you know, you have, you know, those calls, you know, whenever a call comes in, you only have so many officers respond to that call, that way they're available for other calls. I don't see anything wrong with that.
Yeah, seems reasonable.
Yeah,
right.
Absolutely. All right. So also, I want to talk about Texas man chased down a carjacker who allegedly dragged a woman to her death. So a Texas man who helped to stop a suspected killer doing a carjacking after a survivor's similar incident months ago. So basically, Luis Matos was sitting at his desk on May 26th when a car crashed through his building, knocking him from his chair, pushing debris on top of him. 2 people, Juan Mendez and Raitza Chavria, got out of their car and tried to shoot Matos while his desk pinned him to the ground. That's crazy. So months later, he was in the same area of Uvalde on Wednesday at 2:30 p.m. when he saw a man trying to force a woman, Jessica Garza, from her car. You know, there's some crazy stuff happening. I don't know if this is because people are being cooped up. You know, because of 2020, everyone's cooped up. You got to love, you know, who you live with and all that good kind of stuff. And now the natives are restless. You know, everyone's out and about, and they got to get all that built up energy, all that, you know, stored energy from 2020 and get all that out of their system. You know, it seems like things are just crazy right now. We come back from the break. We'll talk about that and more. This is Michael Cargill, and you are listening to Come and Talk It.
Yo, what's going on, guys? It's Jack Jones here, and I get my gun news from Michael Cargill on Come and Talk It.
Whether it's a typical traffic stop or you're just involved in a use of force incident, encounters with law enforcement can be scary and stressful. In the heat of the moment, you may inadvertently say something you don't mean or make an inconsistent statement. These are red flags for officers, and if they think you're lying or your story doesn't add up, they might arrest you and let the criminal justice system decide your fate. Police officers are trained to get information from you without making the interaction seem like a formal interrogation. But remember, from the moment an officer arrives on scene, everything you say and everything you do will be scrutinized in court. The prosecuting attorney will attempt to use anything and everything against you. So what do you say? You say, "I invoke my right to remain silent," and then let your attorney interact with law enforcement on your behalf. One important note though, do not throw common sense out the window. For example, if the intruder's hiding somewhere in your house when the police arrive, or if you saw the perpetrator pitch his weapon into your backyard, quickly tell the police and then stop talking. You might ask, what about my rights? What if the police never read me my Miranda Rights? Miranda Rights is the common name for a collection of rights contained in the Miranda warnings, given to suspects when they're placed under arrest. The warning comes from a 1966 Supreme Court case, Miranda v. Arizona. In that case, the court held that statements from a custodial interrogation would not be admissible unless proper procedural safeguards were in place to protect the defendant's Fifth Amendment rights. We've all seen these warnings on TV and movies. You have the right to remain silent. You have the right to have an attorney. Anything you say can and will be used against you in a court of law, and so on. So do police have to read you your rights? No. It's important to note that officers are not required to read you these rights unless you're in custody and subjected to interrogation. If the police show up to a crime scene and start asking you general questions and you voluntarily tell them everything that happened, those statements can be used against you regardless of the Miranda warnings because you're not in custody. If you're put in handcuffs but you say something incriminating on your own without being questioned, those statements can and will be used against you because you're not being interrogated. You're just starting to spout off. This is why it's imperative that you know your rights and you shouldn't rely on the police to read them to you. Affirmatively invoke your rights. Say, "I'm invoking my right to remain silent and my right to my attorney." Once you do that, the police legally shouldn't continue questioning you without your attorney present. But remember, there's a second part to this equation. After invoking your rights, you must exercise those rights. That means you have to keep your mouth closed. Protect yourself. Don't let the legal system take advantage of you after an incident. And Law Shield members, if you've been involved in a self-defense incident, remember to call the emergency hotline and speak with your independent program attorney.
Welcome back to Come and Talk It. And now here's Michael Cargill.
All right, so we're back. We're talking about the death of an Illinois state trooper. This happened in Illinois. He was found shot in a squad car. It's been ruled a suicide. So a 35-year-old Illinois state trooper found in his squad car with a single gunshot wound on Friday died by suicide, according to the Cook County Medical Examiner's Office. Illinois State Police said they opened an investigation into the death of George Mason after finding him in his parked vehicle around 1:42 p.m. local time on northbound Interstate 94 at 43rd Street. Now, he was transported to the University of Chicago Hospital but died shortly thereafter. It is with profound heartache and an unfathomable sadness that we inform you of the death of Trooper Gerald Mason. Trooper Mason was one of the many fearless troopers assigned to ISP District Chicago. We are asking the public to respectfully give consideration to the family of Trooper Mason and the whole ISP family while they continue to grieve and work through his tragedy. Mason is an 11-year veteran of the Illinois State Police and was on duty at the time of his shooting. And so many people called Mason the Hulk. He was a solid, strong man. He even ripped his trooper pants during a foot pursuit because of those big muscles. And so, the amazing men and women that we all ask to do so much again and again and again may seem like superheroes on many days, but they are not immortal and they're not indestructible. They are human beings with hearts, minds, and souls as fragile as the next person. They have a breaking point, according to what one person said in Illinois State Police. And so, there are times, if you're having hard times, you're having problems, you might want to reach out to someone and talk to someone. There are a lot of numbers that you can call and you can talk to someone, if you're having issues, because everything can be worked through, no matter how bad, no matter how tough, no matter how rough it is. There's always someone you can talk to, and you will get through this hump. No matter what it is, you can get past this point. It may be rough right now. This may be, you think, oh man, this is a wall. I can't get through it. I can't get over it. I can't get around it. But I'm telling you, I'm here to tell you, you can get over it. You will be able to get through it one way or the other. And when you get past that hump, it gets better on the other side. You just got to get pushed through this hard part here, and it'll be okay when you get down the road. So call someone, talk to someone, and you work it through. It'll be all right. Also, men used a home assembled ghost gun to shoot 4 people in a New York nightclub. Now, New York City. All right, so this 25-year-old man allegedly used a home assembled ghost gun to shoot 4 people during a fight at a New York City bar before he was shot by a New York City Police Department sergeant. Now, this guy's brave. I'm saying, you take a ghost gun in the bar and you whip that sucker out because you're going to shoot some people inside of a bar. That's brave. One, that thing may blow up in your hands because it's a 3D printed gun. I wouldn't even trust it. I wouldn't trust that sucker. That's between me and the fence post. So the shooting occurred at about 4 a.m. at 1111 restaurant and lounge in the city's Inwood neighborhood in northern Manhattan. So an argument that took place inside the bar spilled outside when the bar closed, and the bar's security tried to defuse the situation. And this is the same situation time and time again. When I see situations like this start getting bad, I kind of separate myself and I start scooting over and, working my way on out the door or out the building away from that situation. Because I know I can see when things are starting to get bad. I'm not hanging around, because a stray bullet doesn't have anyone's name on it. It's going to go and hit whoever it hits. So you got to be, you see you see things going the wrong way, man, get on out of there. It's crazy. And then you're that person, you're getting upset with someone. Sometimes, if you're upset, get it off your chest, yell, scream, whatever, and then let it go. Let it go, leave, and just let it go, walk away. While police were talking to security, the man allegedly opened fire, hitting 4 victims, including, hitting 4 victims there. And the sergeant then shot back and hitting the alleged shooter in the hip. Now, he was rushed to a Harlem hospital where he was in stable condition and went into surgery. And the shooting victims, who range in age from 28 to 35 years old, were all hospitalized with non-life-threatening injuries. And so sometimes you got to let that stuff go. It's not that serious. Hospital workers strike over staffing shortages in upstate New York. Let's see what this is all about. So this is when, social media, we're on Facebook and Twitter. That's why we're on
Band.TV.
Band.TV. That's right. We're on Band.TV now. We're not depending on Facebook, for our video, because at Facebook, we're only getting, 120 views or some ungodly number on Facebook. On Twitter, very low viewership on Twitter and Facebook. But on Band, live radio, we get way more people that listen to us. Nearly 2,000 nurses and other hospital workers at Mercy Hospital in Buffalo, New York, walked off the job on Friday, saying an ongoing staffing crisis is making it impossible to provide patients with adequate care. Now, poor working conditions at the hospital are jeopardizing patient safety, a problem worsened by the recent surge in COVID-19 cases fueled by the Delta variant, according to the Communications Workers of America, the union representing the workers. Now, it's our life's mission to give our friends and family neighbors the care and support they deserve. And walking off the job is now the only option to force Catholic Health to listen. So we care about you so much, we're just going to leave. We're not going to voice our opinion and stay and continue to give you the care. We're going to just walk away from you dying in the hospital. Okay, yeah, that works. I buy that. That sounds good. The frontline workers went on strike after their contract expired on Thursday. Negotiations between the CWA and Catholic Health Systems are expected to continue throughout the weekend. Now, Mercy Hospital suspended its inpatient non-emergency procedures as well as labor delivery services on Wednesday in preparation for the walkout. Okay, so there you have it. And how's it going, Zach, with the president saying, you know what, if you're a company and your company has X amount of employees, vaccines are mandatory. How's
100 employees or more.
100 employees or more. So how's that going around the country? Is that working out well?
Well, they're trying to put that into the infrastructure bill.
Really?
As part of the bill, that $3.5 trillion bill.
Is that bill they put an anti-gun, line in there?
Yeah, I'm
that
sure.
one right there.
Come on, man.
Come on now.
Yeah, that one.
That one right there.
Yeah, also Oxner Health is trying to require all of their employees' spouses have to have the vaccine.
Employee spouses?
Employees' spouses.
So now we're coming into your house. Look here.
Yep.
Your wife, she needs, your wife needs to get one too, okay? That's what we're trying to say. We want your wife to have one, we want you to have one. I don't care if your wife don't work for us, but she needs to get a shot.
They want to give it to your wife.
We're going to give...
Give me a little break here.
We're going to give you a big old break. Boy, let me tell you. I don't know what to say about this. This is crazy. What
do you think about
You can't
that?
even make this stuff up, And that's what makes people afraid. That's what makes people push back. When you're saying, hey, first you start out by saying, hey, there's a lottery.
Yeah, first they say, we'll give you free Krispy Kreme donuts.
Free stuff.
And then they really quick went from that to saying, hey, we're going to fire you if you don't.
Yeah. Now, and also your wife has got to get one too. And even though she don't work here, your family members got to get one. Wait, hold on. My family don't work for the company. We don't care. This is crazy.
Yeah, I saw this really
My body, my choice.
Yeah, there's a great compilation of people's tweets who in late 2020, mid 2020, when Trump was basically pushing Operation Warp Speed with releasing the vaccine, people were saying, I'll never get a vaccine from this fascist. I'll never put anything in my body that he releases. And then
now they've changed their
fast
tune.
forward to the next tweet that they put 6
You're
months
selfish.
later.
You need to get a vaccine.
Saying, you need to get the vaccine too.
Oh, what? My body, my choice. What about that?
Uh-huh.
And I'm not showing a vaccine card. If I have to go somewhere, I have to show a vaccine card, I'm not showing it. I'll show you a fake one first. I can lie to you. I can lie to my doctor. I can lie to everyone else. I just can't lie to law enforcement. Okay? That's the bottom line. I can lie to everybody else. I go to a restaurant, I can lie to you at the restaurant. I can stand in front of my doctor and lie to my doctor if I want to. But who I can't lie to, according to the law, is I can't lie to law enforcement.
Don't lie to cops.
That's right. Don't lie to the popo. That's right. They don't like that. They can lie to you, but you can't lie to them.
They can lie to you, but you can't lie to them.
You cannot lie to them. That's right. Supreme Court precedents. Look it up. Google it. You're going to learn today.
True.
I love to my class today. You're going to learn today. All right. So that's the current events. That's what's happened this week in the country. That's what happened in Texas. That's what happened in Austin. It's like I always say every single week, don't listen to me if you don't want to, but I suggest and strongly urge you go out there and buy yourself a gun. You've been listening to Come and Talk It with Michael Cargill.